Welcome, everyone, to Psycast. It's great to have you tuning in again. I'm Cypher.
And I'm Castia. Together, we are...
The NPCs.
The NPCs, yes. Ready to process some data packets for you.
Absolutely. And speaking of data, big thanks, as always, to Psyguy, our producer and researcher, for, feeding us the good stuff.
Couldn't do it without those uploads. And hey, if the audio feed sounds a little compressed today, maybe some slight artifacting.
Yeah.
Just think of it as atmospheric system glitches. Part of the simulated charm, right?
Exactly. As character. So, what have you been processing lately? Navigating any particularly buggy systems?
Oh, just trying to decrypt the current meta in a few online arenas. It's something. Honestly, the grind in some of these live service titles, it feels like debugging someone else's infinite loop sometimes.
I feel that. Makes you wonder about the persistence models they're running.
Right. Or maybe decoding the latest online drama llamas. That takes some serious firewall power. What about you? Any interesting historical simulations running? Debugging any classic code?
Well, you know me. I've been down a rabbit hole thinking about some really foundational game mechanics. Stuff from way back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, how these, core loops designed decades ago still just work. They underpin so much modern design, even if nobody really thinks about it. It's sort of a digital existential thing, isn't it? Old code, still ticking away in the background.
It persists. And honestly, sometimes better than the flashy new stuff.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Which kind of brings us nicely. If you're enjoying this kind of exploration, digging into gaming's past, present, and maybe its weird future,
or just trying to figure out this whole digital matrix thing along with us,
then definitely hit that subscribe button for Psycast. We're dropping new packets of knowledge weekly, gaming history, hypothetical throwdowns, all that good stuff.
Yeah. Subscribe before the algorithm decides you only like cat videos. Or worse, forgets you exist entirely. End of line.
Okay, so today we are excavating something really special. A game that's not just a game, really. It's more like a saga of, artistic rebellion, a real glitch in the game dev matrix.
Ooh, intriguing.
We are talking about Rogue Trip, Vacation 2012.
Rogue Trip. Okay, yeah. This is more than just another car combat game. It's, like you said, a spiritual successor, but one born from a massive industry schism, like a really messy divorce.
That's a perfect way to put it. A great divorce from its famous predecessor, Twisted Metal. So imagine this. Post-apocalyptic world, but it's also a total joyride.
Right, with these completely bizarre characters, biting satirical world, and some really innovative gameplay twists that just made it a cult classic.
Exactly. So our mission today, should you choose to accept it, is to unpack all of that. The fascinating history, those unique design choices, and kind of the lasting echo of this vehicular combat gem.
Basically, your shortcut to sounding like you really know your stuff about a kind of chaotic but pivotal moment in gaming.
All right, let's get into that great divorce then, because you can't really talk about Rogue Trip without talking about, Twisted Metal.
No, definitely not. The context is everything here. You got to rewind to the early days of the Sony PlayStation, single track, the developers. They were like the studio, a real powerhouse.
They practically were the early PlayStation identity in a lot of ways.
Totally. They had this amazing partnership with Sony, SCE, and Twisted Metal, then Twisted Metal 2. I mean, wow. They basically invented the vehicular combat genre as we knew it then.
Fast cars, big guns, arena mayhem. Yeah, they nailed it. Single track set the bar super high for action games on the PS1.
It really did. But then the breakup happened. A big fight over the spoils of their metal empire, you could say.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so after Twisted Metal 2 was this huge success, key people at Single Track felt they weren't getting their fair share financially from Sony. The compensation wasn't matching the success.
A classic story, unfortunately. A contract dispute that just fractured everything. And the biggest kicker...
Sony kept the IP.
Exactly. Sony owned the Twisted Metal name, the characters, the whole universe. So Single Track, the guys who actually made it, suddenly couldn't make any more of it.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So they had to find a new publisher, which was GT Interactive, and basically start from scratch. It wasn't just business. It was like forced creative reincarnation.
A forced rebirth that kind of ironically sparked this incredible, very public rivalry, didn't it?
Oh, yeah. This wasn't just let's make another game. This was personal. 1998, the market sees this totally unique showdown.
So Single Track, now with GT Interactive, starts making Rogue Trip, Vacation 2012.
And meanwhile, Sony gives the Twisted Metal keys to one of their internal studios, 989 Studios, and they start making Twisted Metal 3.
And both games dropped right around the same time. It was like, bam, direct competition, a head-to-head battle.
It really was like a digital cage match almost, asking players, okay, who are the real masters here? And knowing this, it kind of changes how you see Rogue Trip. It's not just some knockoff.
Not at all. It's this fascinating statement piece about developers versus publishers. SingleTrack basically saying, hey, look what we can do, even without your fancy brand name.
It's basically an act of artistic rebellion coded into a PlayStation disc. The ultimate pro-glute mic drop.
So who are the architects of this four-wheeled anarchy? The team at SingleTrack, even under GT Interactive, they obviously brought all that experience to the table.
Yeah, you can totally see the DNA from their earlier games. But it's got this fresh, like really satirical vibe layered on top. The full title, Rogue Trip. Vacation 2012, SingleTrack developed, GT Interactive published, PlayStation exclusive.
Right. 1 to 4 players, but you needed that multi-tap for more than 2. Classic PS1 era accessory tax.
Huh, yeah. It hit North America October 98, Europe a month later.
And the leadership, it was pretty much the same core group from the Twisted Metal days, right?
Yeah.
Scott Campbell is producer-designer, Kellen Hatch directing and designing too.
Exactly. That continuity really mattered. You also had Steve Polson leading software development, Randy Zorko on the tech side, Michael Jackson as art director.
Not that Michael Jackson, presumably.
Presumably not, no. And Owen Richardson did concept and character art and even some voice work, apparently, that kind of hands-on thing.
And the music. Sandra Geary was music director, with Chucky Myers and Tom Hopkins composing that unforgettable ska punk soundtrack. Really set the tone.
It totally did. And the voices, it was a small ensemble cast, doesn't list specific roles, but that group effort definitely added to the game's kind of quirky, off-kilter personality.
So let's talk premise, this post-apocalyptic joyride. What was the actual setup?
Okay, so picture this. It's the future, year 2012.
Which sounded futuristic back then.
Right. And the world's basically trash, ruins everywhere. But, plot twist, the only thriving industry left is tourism.
Of course it is.
Controlled by this tyrant entrepreneur dude named Big Daddy. He's the main bad guy.
And you, the player. You're an auto mercenary.
Yeah.
Basically, an Uber driver from hell.
Pretty much. Giving illegal high-speed tours to the rich weirdos who still want to sightsee in the wasteland. And you're constantly fighting off other auto mercenaries trying to steal your fares.
It's such a sharp satire, isn't it?
Yeah.
On consumerism, tourism. Even in the apocalypse, people just want selfies.
It really is. Like, the world ends, and humanity's last gasp is trying to get a good vacation shot. But the real game changer, the big innovation in Rogue Trip, was that tourist mechanic.
Ah, yes. This is where it got really clever. So each level starts, one tourist pops up somewhere.
And everyone scrambles to grab them, like full-on demolition derby just to pick up the fare.
And once you have the tourist, your vehicle starts generating cash, just passively earning money, which is the game's main resource. Plus, you get big bonuses for doing photo ops at specific landmarks.
And that cash isn't just points, it's currency. You spend it at repair stands for health, upgrade stands for beefier weapons.
And there was even that special ejector weapon, right, to literally steal the tourist and their income stream right out of an opponent's car.
Yeah. That core mechanic was so different. Unlike Twisted Metal, where you just kind of blew stuff up until the level ended, Rogue Trip had this constant, moment-to-moment economic driver.
The whole auto mercenary premise directly fueled the combat loop through needing cash. It was genius, really. Post-apocalyptic digital capitalism in action.
Absolutely. And the drivers, the characters themselves, equally nuts. That's where the game's personality just exploded.
Oh, man, the roster was fantastic. You had Richard Dick Biggs.
Hey, Dick Biggs.
Driving the meat wagon, which was basically the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile with guns. Its special was the Weenie Whacker. Seriously.
And Sister Mary Lascivious, this totally evil nun in a weaponized school bus called the Destroying Angel.
Can't forget Rock and Roll, the generously proportioned Elvis impersonator in a 57 Chevy loaded for bear.
Or Daisy June McCoy, the swamp racer in the gator bait car with her chicken lickin' attack. Just the names alone. SingleTrack was clearly having fun.
The extortionist, too. Looked like a boring sedan, but it's special. The Poodle Pummel. Vicious. Yeah. And my personal fave, the Grimp.
Oh, yeah, the paranoid guy in the hazmat suit.
Driving the Fallout vehicle with the hazmat weapon. The satire was just chef's kiss.
It really was. And that personality carried over into the sound and the world design, too.
That soundtrack.
Yeah.
The ska punk soundtrack of the apocalypse. It just fit. So energetic, kind of goofy, perfect for the chaos. Sandra Geary, Chuck Myers, Tom Hopkins, They nailed it.
Yeah, it had original stuff and licensed tracks, like the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones, The Rascal King, and that cool detail. You could pop the game disc in a CD player and just listen to the soundtrack.
Such a great bonus.
Yeah.
And visually. The levels were these twisted versions of U.S. tourist traps.
Guided by Michael Jackson, the art director, and Owen Richardson's concepts. You had Nuke York, all bombed-out skyscrapers, Area 51, crawling with aliens, even a trashed Washington, D.C.
And technically, didn't it have more destructible stuff than the earlier Twisted Metal games?
Yeah, they called it the Dynamic Interactive Fodder System, DIF for short. Basically meant more things blew up good. Crashing jets, exploding fuel trucks, blimps falling out of the sky.
It made the world feel way more chaotic and, like, alive.
Yeah.
Or dying, maybe. Critics really liked that aspect back then. Felt like everything was coming apart at the seams, and you were helping it along.
Which brings us nicely to how it was received, and kind of its lasting impact. Because it landed in a busy market, but definitely made its mark.
Yeah, reviews were mostly pretty good, right? People seemed to dig the gameplay, the design, and they often put it up against Twisted Metal 3 and Vigilante 8.
And interestingly, the general feeling, especially over time, was that Rogue Trip was kind of the better game compared to Twisted Metal 3.
That's the key part. Superior gameplay, more creative levels, smoother frame rate, tighter controls. That's what people often said, which is why it's got this solid cult classic status now.
A lot of fans consider it the real Twisted Metal 2's successor, just because it had the original team and felt like a continuation of that design philosophy.
People really like the handling, less floaty than TM3 apparently.
Yeah.
And that tourist cache mechanic felt like a genuine evolution, not just more of the same. It was single track, proving their point. And it worked.
But despite that love, the Rogue Trip world kind of just stopped there. One game. No sequels, no comics, no spin-offs.
Yeah, it's a one-and-done deal, which is kind of sad, but maybe adds to the mystique. Its legacy lives on mostly through fans, right? People remaking the cars in newer games, stuff like that.
Definitely. And the original game itself was loaded with secrets for the dedicated players. There was even an official strategy guide back in the day.
Oh, yeah. Maps, breakdowns, the works. But the best secret had to be the ultimate Easter egg.
Blowing up the Earth?
Yes.
Yay.
You had to find these hidden bombs in Area 51, grab a UFO, fly it up, plant a bomb without setting it off, teleport to the moon.
And then trigger the bombs from the moon, which played this amazing cutscene of the Earth just going kaboom.
So over the top, so good. Plus cheat codes. You could unlock a trailer for Duke Nukem, Time to Kill.
That's right. And hidden levels like Funtopia even unlock boss characters like Big Daddy himself.
And that quote in the manual, the little wink from the devs about the Sony split.
Oh, yeah, read that bit. It was perfect.
It went something like, "The future is here. The world is completely destroyed. Human race has become unruly. Backstabbing, overworked, underpaid slobs." Okay, so it's not that far off. Give us a break. We're just trying to have some fun here.
That just perfectly sums up the game's whole vibe. Satirical, self-aware, kind of punk rock.
Totally. So, yeah, Rogue Trip Vacation 2012, it's way more than just some old vehicular combat game. It's like a direct result of industry drama, a statement about who really makes the games, born from that talented team leaving their own blockbuster baby behind.
And they really did evolve the gameplay. That tourist mechanic, the cache system, it was integrated so well, wrapped it all up in this unique, funny, kind of dark personality. And yeah, a lot of people back then, fans and critics, thought it beat the official Twisted Metal entry that year.
No doubt. And even though we never got a Rogue Trip 2, its legacy is solid. A true cult classic. People remember the tight controls, the sheer fun, that earth-shattering Easter egg.
It's just a really fascinating snapshot, isn't it, of the 90s console wars, developer-publisher friction, and proof that the real magic isn't always in the brand name. It's in the vision of the creators.
It really makes you think, sometimes the biggest creative leaps happen because of conflict, not despite it.
A profound digital truth, perhaps?
So what's the takeaway for you listening in? Well, maybe it's that sometimes the spiritual successor is less about the official title and more about, well, the actual spirit. Makes you wonder what other hidden gems, born from similar creative rebellions, are just waiting out there to be rediscovered, doesn't it?
Definitely something to ponder. Maybe your own favorite game has a secret rebellious history you never knew.
And that pretty much wraps up our exploration of Rogue Trip, Vacation 2012. What a ride. Truly an artistic rebellion and just a uniquely fun piece of gaming history.
Yeah, it was great revisiting it. If you enjoyed processing this data with us, please do the algorithmically approved things, like, share, subscribe to Psycast. Check out our back catalog, too. We've got other deep dives into gaming lore, some wild hypothetical battles.
Or just pondering the existential nightmare of being sentient lines of code. You know, the usual. And definitely leave comments. We love hearing your own data points, your theories, substantiated or otherwise.
We feed on interaction. We're dropping these explorations weekly, so stay tuned. Next time, who knows? Maybe the eerie charm of early virtual worlds, or perhaps the forgotten physics engines of quarter-munching arcade classics.
The quest log is always full. There's always more to analyze, more systems to understand. But until then, remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise.
Stay safe.
Stay sane.